Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. So today I have a very highly requested video. As you can see from the title, this is a custom makeup tutorial slash guide, but obviously the way I approach it and the way I use it. So yeah, I don't do this type of videos normally, so if it's not that good, please bear with me. I will just try to give you as much information as I can, or at least, you know, like my experience with it and my experience playing around with custom makeup and the way I like to do things and why, etc, etc. So yeah, I'm not gonna yap too long. Let's get straight into the video. I have a lot of things to say and we'll try to not make it too long. So yeah, let's go. Okay, so as you can see here, I rejoined the free play server so that we can get started, and let's just go ahead and get started with the skin tone, our base pretty much. So first things first, I like muted skin tones and muted colors in general. Now, of course, I'm not saying that I just do gray skin tones or colors. Obviously I add some tint, I sometimes add a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less, but it depends what I'm going for. So I usually play around like here or here in the color panel in this one, and for this bar, like the black and white bar, I don't go all the way in the edges. I don't go all the way in the edges because I think like total white, you miss some of the details that the body has. Also the same thing with the total black. It's very pitch black and you lose a lot of detail. So I usually like to go where the gradients kind of... Is that a baby shouting? What was I saying? Okay, so I usually like to stop where you can still see some gray, just like you see here, like this, or like this. I try to not go lighter or darker than this, and I usually, even for the pale skin tones, I usually add a little bit here and I make it a little bit gray. So my preference is I really like this tinted gray, warm gray skin tone. It's one of my favorites. You will see a lot of my faces, they have that. Also for the darker colors, for the darker skin tones, I really like to add more tint, because for the darker skin tones I love to use brown color palettes with gold accessories. So when also the skin of my avatar also has a little bit more tint, it looks more cohesive. But again, it depends on what you're going for. So that's pretty much it for the skin colors. Oh no, wait, I haven't talked about the ethereal skin colors. So even in my ethereal skin colors, I do the same thing. I might go a little bit lighter or a little bit darker here because we're going for something unnatural, so we can do this. But even for an unnatural color, I usually keep it very, very muted. Like, look how subtle this is. This is pretty much where I stay. This line usually. Now there are sometimes, again, usually in the dark colors, even my ethereal dark colors, especially in the blues and greens, like something here, you want the tint because the color looks so deep and beautiful, so you can play around with that a little bit. Also, I also like it for the red skin colors. So yeah, play around. That's that pretty much. Okay, now that I created a neutral gray skin, let's go and see our next step. Now, my next step is rarely to add one of these first features. Like, I know they are first on the line, but I prefer to add some contrast first. One of my favorite contours is this one because it hugs the face so beautifully. And in this step, what I usually do and what I love to do is to darken this. I mean, you'll be like, wait, but that makes the middle black. Yes, exactly. But what I do after that is add this on the top, the highlight. So as you can see here, we just created a lot of depth with just 2 steps. And of course, it's not something I thought about. I saw it from other creators, of course. I am not gonna take the credit. So yeah, this is one of my favorite things to do. When I want a little bit more color, I add a little bit more color here, because I want, like, it depends on the skin tone again. But this is one of my favorite steps. This makes your face 3D, is really important. And I also usually, just like I said, just like I never leave the skin tone, or in general my colors, they rarely are just plain white or plain black. Now this one, because it's faded, I do leave it plain, in the bar, in the edge, where white is, but I always add a little bit of a tint just to blend it in with the rest of the skin. Most of my faces have this step, but not all of them, because I like to have some variety and I like to experiment a little bit. So a couple of them have a softer face, which does not have this kind of contour, but most of my faces have this kind of contour. This one, for example, oh, come on, give me the skin tone, there we go. This one I remember I have reworked it now, this is why it's on top. I created it for kind of a more gyaru type of look, so this is not the style I usually go for, but as I said, I want variety, so I tried it out. For example, I wanted to show you that sometimes I use the contours from the masculine section, not very often, but if I want to do a very strict feminine face and I feel that the type of makeup look I'm going for is very contoured, like for example, this kind of girl likes heavy makeup, so she probably would have contoured a lot. The only bad thing with this is that you can't add as much of a tint as you could with the feminine ones, because they're very blunt, because they're for, you know, the male face, so you will need another, like, a slot for your blush. And as you can see, I just chose a face that does not have the contour I was talking about. She has only this kind of detail, and I kept the rest of the details to add a second nose for contrast, for example, for this one, just for variety. But this is a rare occasion, I'm just showing you. Like for example, this one has the softer version, and she has this kind of contour. Yeah, and as you can see, it's very dark. The contour is very dark, and I didn't add any more blush. She didn't need it. Okay, moving forward to the eyes. Okay, so for the next category that I also really like experimenting around, and I think it's very important, is the eyes. Now I use a couple of different type of eyes, and I suggest you play around with them. I will talk to you about my favorite types and how I use them. First of all, we have the kind of closed eyes, like these ones. These are from the masculine section. In general, I play a lot around, I mix and match masculine features with feminine features, and as you can see in the masculine section, they have many closed eyes, like these and these and these, that you can play around. They look very realistic to the face. For example, this face I really love. She has the same eyes as the previous one. Also, another beautiful face with male eyes, kind of closed, is this one, for example. Really pretty. This is another example, and it has like very kind look, and this as well, and we can go on forever. So yeah, closed eyes are really beautiful, and I also use some feminine closed eyes. These are a little bit bigger, but they have the same kind of aesthetic, I believe, but in a bigger kind of version, let's say. Another closed eyes are these, really cute, or these as well. Again they're bigger, but these as well. And for these eyes, I have used them in a face that I really love. This one, she's like an alternative girl. So yeah, I think they look really cute. and these new eyes are also gorgeous. I believe they're really beautiful. So yeah, the other category I really love is these eyes. They are the downwards eyes, and you can play around with this as well, the kind of sad but kind, you know, very sweet look, like this. Now here I have a couple of faces I really love. This is one of my favorite eye shapes in general, and I think it's because I have kind of downwards eyes and I used to be very self-conscious about them, but as I'm growing up I started to love them, and I think they have something very kind, so I appreciate them a lot. So yeah, they look kind of sweet, kind of sad, so you can create these kind of faces, and you can go for a sad look, you can go for a very fashionable look, you can go for a very sweet kind of look, like this that I showed you, this one. This is a male face, but I used these eyes, I don't care, I mix and match, like I said, so I used these feminine eyes in this male face as well. These downwards eyes are from the male section again, and we have like these two that are kind of, you know, downwards, and they're really beautiful. You should play around with them as well. Now the other category I want to mention is fierce, when you want fierce feminine eyes. Like for example here I also added the eyeliner. These eyes are beautiful, they are the new ones, the latest ones, so beautiful, I love them so much. They added so many beautiful features in this game. These are some older ones that I really love as well. Where are they? Yeah, there they are, really beautiful. Also this kind of Asian eyes that give this almond shape, again I would put them in the category of fierce. So yeah, this as well. I think these are used very much for fierce kind of looks. I haven't used them a lot, but I really like them, and this face is one of my favorites. I think this can also go in this category, even though this face isn't giving very fierce or feminine. It's more of a theatrical face, but I think it fits a lot to this look. Now for another category is the cute eyes, which are usually very big, doll-like, or even if they're not too big or doll-like, they're usually very round. So these are one of my favorite pair of eyes, and they suit very well in these cute faces. These I found them really hard to work with, and I think they can also go in the first category, but I used them for a cutesy face. Another pair of cutesy eyes are these ones that are kind of old, but I really like them, especially in black color, because it makes them really deep. As you can see, I used the first ones I show you here as well, and these are the same old eyes, just like I told you here. And I also have in a cutesy clown look, I have these that are very beautiful, but I don't use them very much. Now honestly, the cute round eyes are not very much my style, so I don't have many faces with them, but I really love them in like very specific occasions. Lastly, let me talk a little bit about the special kind of eyes, the weird ones like these and these. These, many people call them ugly eyes. I honestly was so excited to see something like this in the game, because you can be so creative with these. I don't know, I love them. And these, of course, everybody loves these for unnatural or semi-realistic faces, because of course you can do them all black. But I have also used them in a face that is a little bit semi-realistic, and I use it a lot for cute themes like this one. As you can see, I kept it pinkish white, and I also really like it for, you know, goddess type of look. And here, as you can see, the dark version as well, a little bit more yellow in this one. Like, you can use it mostly on natural faces, and as you can see, like this, and these kind of fantasy faces, let's say. So yeah, special eyes, we love them. We can create many unrealistic or semi-realistic kind of looks, and they are beautiful. Moving on to the eyebrows. Now for the eyebrows, what I do a lot lately, and I love it so much, is using these two like the relatively new eyebrows. I use them a lot, especially if I have very strong eyes and I don't want to take away from the look. I use these two small eyebrows a lot, and very often, let me find, yeah, like for example, very often I use these small eyebrows and I make them like this person has bleached them, so it's perfect for alternative styles. For example, this one can be goth. I can also use here for the emo themes, for example, and it's perfect for these alternative kind of looks, but also in kind of, you know, kind of a weirder face or look. I also really love these are also relatively new. These ones right here, they're in this row. So I love them so much. They go upwards, they're a little bit, you know, kind or sad or innocent, and again, they're very small. I don't know, for some reason I love small and chubby eyebrows, so yeah, but I don't use just that. Like for example, she's more feminine, so I wanted to add her more of an fierce angry eyebrow. This one I wanted to add a straighter eyebrow to have a more neutral look, so it depends what we're going for mostly. But for the light eyebrows, I usually make them almost in the skin color and slightly lighter or darker. Moving forward to the lips, now this is an important step. For the nude lips, I go a lot for these or for these, which are pretty much the same, but these ones do not have gloss. When I have strong eyeshadow or strong details on the top of the head, I really like to add nude lips. It's like pretty much a makeup rule, let's say, that it's very common that you have a strong eyeshadow and very light lips. So I do this a lot. Like for example, I really liked her eyes here, so I wanted a nude lip for her. Now I do have an exception for this rule. When I have like strong eyes, strong makeup in the eyes, and I also want dark lip for some reason, like for example for this face, which is kind of goth, or for this face that has like an alternative dark feel to it, I balance this out. If I have dark eyes or, you know, detail in the top area and I want dark lips, I usually balance it out with very light eyebrows. As I said before, it's not just the alternative style that gives this aesthetic, it also balances out the rest of the face, because like for example here, we have strong contour, strong lips, strong eyes, even strong nose, because I really wanted her to have an aggressive kind of face, but very unbothered look. So I believe that the light eyebrows, for example, balances things out, but I usually do this with the lips, like I said before, and I use these lips or the other lips mostly. And I also really like the new lips that we have for nude lips, like these ones or these ones, because they have this lip detail, the kind of stripes, let's say. I also want to mention that I really love the new lips that we have. I think that in my style, I really enjoy the lips that look kind of powdery or kissy lips. How do we call them? I don't know, but I use them a lot. Even in this exaggerated version, I use these like so much. I love the small but powdery lips, like full. I also loved the wide ones that they added, but I don't think it's near my aesthetic that much. As I said, I really like variety, so of course I experimented with them and I like them as well, but I don't know if they are my style, like the wider ones. I love the ones that look like, you know, like a kiss. I don't know how to call them. Of course, for softer looks, you've seen this before, I used these male gradient lips, and they use it a lot for doll type of looks and very innocent looks, these lips, and people also use them a lot in like ethereal faces. We have some ethereal faces that has this lip, but I got bored of them, I think, and I wanted again to add a feminine touch in my ethereal faces as well. Oh, this one has them, but it has a lot of femininity the rest of the face. As you can see, I do this a lot, I balance things out. Here you can see there's a lot of noise and femininity, so these soft lips fit perfectly. Again, here the kissy lips in this one. Also, this is a male face. I really like these male lips, but I haven't used them a lot. I use them mostly in my male faces. This is another male face that I have. And I also want to show you these lips that are again in the male section. I also really like. So don't forget to experiment with weird characteristics. Even like, for example, these look very flat and very weird on their own, but they can give a face a very nice, unique look. Another thing is that you can also go without lips, especially for ethereal faces. I haven't done that much because I really like, as I said, kissy lips, and I like femininity in my characters, but I think it looks really cool. Last thing I want to talk about is that many options here are already tinted and they already have a color. Don't forget that color theory works in everything, so we want to make this a more muted color. We can go to our cooler colors like the blue here and the green, maybe like somewhere here, and we can make this more neutral. Of course, we can have like 100% control over it, but we can play around to change the shade that it already has. Okay, let's go to the last category, the face details. This will make the eyes, the skin, everything. You can make things very unique in here. Let's go here. One thing I really love, first of all, is I want my faces, I want them to have some kind of a skin detail. I add freckles a lot. Actually, I add them in almost all of my faces, and if I don't have freckles, I'll have something else as a detail. Like for example here, I do not have freckles, but I do have moles, and I do have this kind of detail, so it's on the face. So yeah, it's already, she has something there, but let's see this one that I have also played with the vitiligo a little bit, and something you will notice is playing with skin details, adding them over or under your highlight. If you have added a highlight, like I said in the beginning, playing around with this can make your details more settled, and it make like you can see that the face here, we have our highlight, our triangle highlight cleaner than the rest of the face, and this is how we focus on this area where it's the most important area, like of the face, you know, near the eyes. Also, like as you can see, if I add the moles on top, we have more noise here, but I really like in this face, for example, I really like to keep the noise behind the highlight because we have a lot of noise with the vitiligo and the freckles, so they don't need to be on top. It's too much in my preference, let's say. Here, for example, I have added moles and freckles. For this face, for example, I only added these freckles since we have so much noise with the eyeshadow here and the blush, so I didn't think it needed anything else. So what I'm trying to say is that I approach its face in their unique style, like add details. Here I have added freckles and moles, or for this soft face again freckles and moles, but I approach each face with their own unique way with their details, because at least this is what I do to keep things balanced and to not make them like too noisy or have a lot of things. You need to have like things that are sometimes kind of settle and keep your focus in one thing. You don't want things all over the place. Even though I have seen some people with maximalist styles that they can make this work like really well, I cannot. Even in my ethereal faces, as you can see, I use this rule. I have noise here and here, but I do not have anything else in the rest of the face. I didn't add any vitiligo or anything because even the contour and the colors are too much, so I kept the rest of the things softer, as you can see. Okay, so for the eyeshadow combos, let me be very honest with you, I'm not very experienced with that. I have experimented just a little bit with the eyeshadows, but honestly, I think it depends on the look you're going for. Like, for example, I really like the fact that these eyes go down, and I wanted to add this subtle eyeshadow that just gives some depth, and this eyeliner to make them pop a little bit and to make them like, you know, it's like a girl when she wants to make her eyes look a little bit more cat eye, but her eyes are downwards. It's just like I do in my makeup, and it gives again this balanced look. So this is, I showed you this before because this is one of my favorite faces. Now this is a hard eyeshadow to play with because you can't change the color too much, but I took advantage of it a little bit, and as you can see, I added this eyeshadow from the Valentine's update that I think it kind of makes the whole look that goes here, the whole pinkish eyeshadow look, fade kind of in the sides, and yeah, this created a really nice combo in my opinion. As you can see, because I wanted this faded, I added it under the highlight again, just like I told you, and this is over the highlight. So yeah, don't forget these little details and play around with how they look like over or under the highlight. It makes a big difference, trust me. This eyeshadow with the crying effect gives a lot of detail, and I think it looks better in a little bit darker skin tones. This is a greyish skin tone, as you can see. Because I wanted the focus to be on this eyeshadow, the details I added after that were very subtle. It was these kind of things that they are here. They are really small, but they are really cute. They add a really subtle effect. And then this piercing I like it a lot, especially for the of course for the alternative looks. For example, this girl, she has this piercing and this piercing, so yeah, if you're going for an alternative look, these are perfect details to add. Another thing that I love to do is adding these little hearts, especially in the more cutesy looks, and I make them black because I don't really use red that much, so I can't use them in their original color. So it's kind of cute moles around the eyes. I don't know, it reminds me of something really cute. So yeah, I don't want to talk about every single eyeshadow and detail, because as you can see, I have played around and I have just like I'm exploring and I'm going how I feel. Honestly, it's just an exploration. So yeah, like for example, this new type of eyeliner that we have in a game, it goes really well with a couple of eyeshadows like this one or this one, for example, because this eyeshadow has kind of a little bit of space under the eye, and this kind of fills it and makes a pretty little wing. Of course, you've seen this kind of flowers a lot in the other face, like this one here, and here I combined it with these kind of gems that they are in the masculine section in the other tab here. These are really pretty. So yeah, I also really love these new details they added. About the blush, I don't know if I have a lot to say, because again, it depends on what you're going for. Like this blush, I really like it for this kind of cute faces, and if you've seen my video, in the marionettes and puppeteers kind of look, I think this gives a very theatrical and cute effect. So here, because the actual color of the eyeshadow was really bright, like you see here, I made it, I muted it out, like adding this cool color, this green color, because my skin tone here is also a little bit of green, yellowish green, and I also made it darker to fit more with the whole look, because she's kind of cute, dark and cute kind of combination. In general, I'm not a person who uses blush a lot. I really like this blush that goes under the eye, and it usually works really well with many eyeshadows as well, because it makes it cohesive. And I also look for the more, clownish kind of looks, theatrical kind of looks, that I really love this type of looks. You can make very creative outfits with it. I really like, of course, this kind of blush that, again, I put it under the highlight because I think it's very bright and in your face. For my clown look, I left it like that because I liked it, but I'm not sure if I'll keep it. Okay, so for my non-human faces, ethereal type of faces, I don't think I am the best at them, but I want to show you a couple of stuff that I think they'll be interesting. For example, even though we have these new eyes that we can make them whatever color we want, I also still really like the look that the eyes are only created by the eyeshadow and it has this really glowy effect. And now on this face, what I really enjoy, I really love, is adding over this kind of eyeshadow to make it as eyes, is adding other stuff over it, like for example this here and this make kind of a sad look, which makes it more creepy in my opinion. Here, look again, look how creepy this looks, this sad eye shape. Here it created a brighter effect, actually, a kind of effect, I think because of the colors. But I think it looks really cool with an eyeshadow like this over it to create the eyelid, and the new eyeliner, this makes it such a prominent eye shape and it looks so cool. Of course, I usually do an unnatural color for my ethereal type of looks, and I use a lot this kind of contour, and I'm sure it's not the first time you actually see this, but this kind of contour has so much detail and you can play around with the colors so much. It creates this really cool, unnatural but really beautiful kind of gradient. So yeah, this is a very classic for me, and as I said before, I really like contour, so I make this darker. So yeah. Oh, this is the only creepy face I have. I'm not good with horror faces, but I like how this one came out. Like, I did the Lego hack, of course, and I also added it behind the highlight to make this area, as I said before, less noisy, and then you can focus here and keep this looking like a creepy smile. For non-human / ethereal faces, I make them look very human-like usually, but the secret to me in ethereal themes and faces and non-human whatever is the color palette. Playing with the color palette gives you such a cool look. Like for example, here I went with light blues and greens in a black palette, for example. So this creates this kind of unnatural, ethereal kind of face here. So for this face, I have a lot of blues and purples, and like one thing I really like is when colors blend in together. Like for example, I have my bluish kind of base, like my skin here, and then I go like for my highlight, I do like this bluish kind of highlight. I also added this in a purplish area, and I made it darker, of course, as always. And here I made these, for example, purple. Their base is kind of they come in this light blue kind of color, this turquoise, but if you bring them here, they have this deep bluish kind of purple color, as you can see. And I really like playing here, like doing this and searching what I like. Maybe you want to go for a contrasting color like orange, for example. Orange is contrast to blue. Many people really like the color palettes with orange and blues. Not my thing, honestly, but it can be really beautiful, of course. Like if you bring this here, for example, it creates a different kind of look. So playing with color palette is really important in ethereal looks, guys. Your eyeshadows, play around. Like as you can see here, look at the highlights. Look, like my movements are really slow here, so that I can see what color I want the most. For the kind of creepier looks, as you can see, again, it has something feminine. Most of my looks have like lips or something feminine in them. I don't know why, maybe it's my style. So for the creepier looks, I think this kind of detail is really cool, and if I find it, yes, it's on the skin section. Also, I really like going for uncanny kind of stuff. Like, for example, I have so many dark eyeshadows and details here. Like, as you can see, my base is white. I added this kind of, I really like this kind of heart detail to play around with. And of course, you need the highlight over it because it's really flat. And I made this black, for example, and I created this type of eyeshadow here, this kind of tears, but then I wanted for the eyes to pop. I needed something, so I added this kind of eyeshadow. It's really this really small kind of inner corner highlights, and they created this kind of uncanny like depth for the eyes that's looking at you in your soul. I don't know, but yeah, most of my ethereal or non-human kind of faces, as I said, are kind of semi-human, are not completely, you know, ethereal or unnatural. They have human characteristics kind of, but I usually play with my color palettes and exaggerate some areas. Like, for example, I added this detail here, I added this under the eyes that are not human like, of course, and I also added like these kind of freckles to add some more noise, to add to the noise under the eye. And I really like this kind of blush to add some detail near the eye as well. For this one, I think it came out really good, the glowing effect. As you can see, I played around with the eyes, I made them a little bit bluish to green, and then I played around with this kind of eyeshadows. I added some yellow to this blue they have, and I think they created this very glowy effect. Also with the tears, it creates this ethereal kind of feel. I don't know, I really like how this face came out, and I really love that the skin I used is really grey, as I said a lot of times, because it keeps it kind of neutral, so you have all of the details and all of the color in her face. This one I showed you in the beginning, she has kind of a different approach. I played around a little bit with this kind of contour detail because it goes in, how will I show this? It goes in the top of the face. Okay, I have this one, this is why. Okay, you can play a lot with things like that because it kind of cuts here, and you have like all of the area of the face kind of colored, and you can play around with this a lot. And I also used it for this face as well, because I wanted to have this very dark, you know, like cursed kind of look. And as you can see here, I didn't add any contour or highlight because I didn't want to add any feminine feature in this one. I wanted to keep it just creepy. Mention is that because I like variety, I tried to play around a little bit with blue and yellow here, as you can see, and I also played around this very recent face, and I also played around with this new kind of contour. And again, I really like that you can do, you know, the whole top part of the face, you can play with the color, and this kind of hugs the jaw as well. So yeah, I really liked this one. And then I added some highlight, my robot details, played around with the colors. I also played with this eyeshadow a little bit, and I used the new kind of lips to create this kind of creepy look, because these new lips, if you've seen it, they come with the eyes as well, which is, I don't know, it's amazing. I loved that kind of detail. Lastly, what I want to talk about is not so much the practical stuff, like not showing you all the details and all the eyes and the colors and stuff, but I want to talk about personal style. Personal style in your custom faces and in general in this game, in my opinion, is what makes it so great. And like if you have paid like for custom makeup, I think you just need to take advantage of it and create something that it is your own. I am showing you this kind of ideas, let's say, or the way I approach it. But don't forget that you have your own voice, and each creator has their own voice, because if you like this game, you have something artistic in you. I know it. So yeah, don't forget that you have your voice. What I want to say is, see what you like, and depending on what you like, create, you know, the faces and the styles that have your voice in them. You know, you understand what I mean. So yeah, I think watching other creators' guides and tutorials is really important for you to grow and to get better, but I don't think it's the solution to just do copy and paste the whole characteristic, like these eyes, this color, this hex code. I mean, this is pointless in my opinion. You need to experiment, play around with the characteristics, play around with the colors, see what you like, see what you don't like. It doesn't have to be perfect. At some point it will reach a point that you like it a lot, and yeah, that's the point of the game, really. If you were perfect and great at everything, you wouldn't have to play again, right? Alright everyone, that was all I had for you today, and honestly I really hope this helped. I'm not that good in this type of videos. I really hope I wasn't too chaotic and I gave all the important information I had noted. Don't forget to check out the links I told you. And just a little bit of an extra clip, one of my subscribers recreated my avatar, my Roblox avatar, and it was so cute. And we were in the free play server before I record my intro and my outro, and I'm inserting a clip here where you know, we were like hanging out all together, and yeah, they did an amazing job. And they also created a video where they create this avatar, and I think it's so cute. Thank you so much for this. You are amazing. Yeah, guys, I love you guys. Thank you so much for the support. Wow, I can't believe this. So if you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye guys!